Patty, Mishi, and Rouser. Rouser, if you can confirm that you're hearing me okay when you get a second, I would be very appreciative. Bring up the roundup. Can you hear me okay, Rouser? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I'm being a little healthier, sparkly water. Because I'm Gucci like that. Hi, Ann. How are you doing? Right. Yeah. So, open forum for 6 minutes while we get built up and get everybody situated. Craig, if you will bring up the Thursday roundup and the loyalty purge articles, we'll be doing both of those. Oh, and we have Bruno. Bruno from Italy. Buongiorno e tu, Bruno. You were about to say what? Good watching the our fucking president tank the economy, right? It's just one thing after the next with this asshole. I don't fucking get it. I really don't. Yeah. So we'll do the roundup first, and then we'll do the loyalty purge after. Bruno, so you've read 20 pages of Careless People. I have to ask, how do you like it? Yeah, the Careless People book is an amazing examination. I'd like to do a set of articles about it and the parallels that it makes, but I need to finish it first. So we'll see how that goes. No, rich people never do the right thing. They really don't. If they did, then it would be. How do you say in Italy, Bruno? Le persone ricche fanno schifo. Forgive me, my Italian diction is not great. I ricchi possono suscitarmi il caso? You're having to put up with my horrible accent. And the fact that I read stuff slowly. Oh, Bruno's not replying. That means I must have fucked it up. No, okay, that means I was right. So my Italian's not horrible. Okay, great. At least I know I can still cuss in Italian. That's good. All right. Well, let's get started. We're over the 10-person mark uh, uh, of people that have come to visit. So yes, as everyone would expect, Trump announced his tariffs yesterday, and um, the uh, the um, the stock markets everywhere, not just in the U.S., but the stock markets everywhere have completely tanked. The Dow Jones is spiraling down into a black hole that it is not going to recover from. Um, and so, um, there's this whole, this whole methodology. So Trump basically decided to tariff at 10% every country in the world. Now, I want to be clear. He is tariffing the Heard and McDonald Islands at 10%. That's a set of islands that are populated entirely by penguins. So an island of penguins is getting tariffed at 10%. If this doesn't alarm everybody, it should, because that's fucked up. Severely fucked up. And I just want to be clear about that. He basically announced a 10% blanket tariff on all imports with higher rates for specific partners, 20% for European Union products, and 50% for Chinese goods. Now, as it turns out, while all that was happening, those countries have decided that they are going to reciprocal tariff back. So we're going to get into this I'm nuking you, you're nuking me, I'm nuking you back situation. So it's going to just continue to spiral down and turn into a trade war that's going to fuck the global economy. The White House has framed the tariffs as addressing unfair trade practices described as a national emergency. Economic experts warn that the tariffs could significantly slow economic activity, and they will, raise costs for Americans, and they will, and potentially trigger a recession-like event. Now, Trump has said that he feels like a recession is necessary to usher in the golden age of making America great again. GOP fuckwads are defending the tariffs, saying that it needs to happen. So now is the time to vote those fuckers out of their fucking positions, which I think is going to happen by the time we go into the midterms. Because if the economy is already doing this bad now, just wait a week. That means that there are GOP people who are going to experience loss of money, loss of funding, and loss of resources that they give a shit about. Democrat firebrands are demonizing the tariff, saying it will destroy the American way of life. And for the most part, I think the Senate is lining up to try to block Trump's tariff play. So that may be still in play. We'll see what happens. But until then, what the fuck can we do? We can pay more for eggs, and we can hunker down and try to survive it. But here's the funny thing. So he initiates the tariffs. He says the tariffs are completely necessary. And then this is the funny part. Eric Trump has come out and said, if you negotiate with America, you will win. So Eric Trump, the president's son, fired off a blunt warning to foreign nations. Move your ass and negotiate with his dad on trade deficits and trade deals, or get left in the dust. In a raw, no bullshit post on X, he's essentially told countries that if you fight back, we will fuck you back, and that's what will happen. As it turns out, the administration turned around right after Eric Trump said this, and they told Eric Trump to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. So there's some disconnect there. I don't know what it is. But, Eric Trump's messaging was that countries that hesitate to deal with the country are going to get hammered with punishing tariffs, while early bids get preferential treatment. But he literally said that, and then quite literally the administration came right behind that and said, Eric, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, shut up. So it's like, well, what? I don't get it. As it turns out, this morning, Mark Cuban ripped Trump's tariff strategy an entirely new asshole, calling the president's hard-on for massive corporations while he completely shits on the little guys, a disaster. So Cuban has said that Trump is just chasing splashy headlines with giant companies that ultimately butcher jobs. Trump's got his head so far up his own ass that he can't see entrepreneurs are the ones that actually have the balls to disrupt markets and create real fucking jobs. Instead of nurturing innovation, the administration is jerking off to big headline numbers and major corporations because they think that's what's going to save the country. Which, if you go back to the, Craig, if you will post this link in, if you go back to the V for Vendetta government comparison analysis that I did yesterday, you'll note that a key element of the V for Vendetta film is the marriage of corporate and government together, and the bastard child that comes out of that. And so Cuban has essentially told Trump his entire economic approach is a clusterfuck. It's going to fuck the economy. You're going to bring us into a depression. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be a very nasty situation. And yeah, CBA, you're right. Oligarchs can't ride out the crash and buy up everything when it's cheap because they're going to suffer. Yeah, Bruno, you're right. Adam Sutler. So, who I believe in the original graphic novel was called Adam Susan. I mean, the only thing that's missing from the film versus the graphic novel is Sutler's character in the graphic novel falling in love with an all-intelligent computer, but maybe we already have that with Elon Musk. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, so while Cuban is over here yelling and screaming, as a billionaire, by the way, that Trump is going to fuck the economy and fuck this and fuck that and all of this fucking bullshit is going to happen. Gary Shapiro, who is the CEO of the Consumer Technology Association, he did the same thing. He's an industry leader, and he's not playing nice with the president's assault. With Trump dropping a financial bomb of 10% baseline tariffs on practically every foreign import, and jacking up the brutal 50% on dozens of countries like China. By the way, I have to tell you that with the fucking tariffs, you're probably going to end up paying $3,000 for your next iPhone. You want your beautiful iPhone? My beautiful iPhone, that by the way is security agency secured. Don't laugh because it is. A new one of those is going to cost you $3,000, possibly $4,000, depending on how bad the tariffs get. Which it's just going to be a fucking nightmare. It really is. I mean, I just don't even know at this point. Wait, who is the batter? Craig, now you have to tell me who this person is because I don't know. The CEO of the CTA, Consumer Technology Association, he himself is saying that the message is clear. These tariffs aren't some brilliant economic strategy. It's a reckless clusterfuck that's going to strangle consumers, devastate business, and potentially torpedo the entire U.S. economy faster than they can blink. Which, by the way, just so everybody is aware, let's go look at the futures numbers. Everything is down, and it's not pretty. The Dow Jones going into tomorrow is probably going to be it's not going to be pretty. The Dow Jones finished today down 1,200 points. I think it's going to continue to spiral downward. That's all there is to that. So while Eric Trump is over here bitching and pissing and moaning about don't fuck with the U.S. If you do, you're going to get screwed. Scott Bessent, who is the Treasury Secretary, told the entire fucking world to sit down, shut the fuck up about the tariffs. The administration mouthpiece had the balls to go on Fox News, with Trump's balls in his mouth probably, to essentially warn other countries, if you fucking retaliate, we will unleash reciprocal tariffs until your country is complete shit and we're the only ones left standing. Because from Scott Bessent's perspective, he doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't give a shit about any country. He literally only cares about himself and the money he can make because he's the Treasury Secretary. It's just like, and I use this GIF in the image, it's just like that scene from fucking Shawshank Redemption where, Biggs or whatever tells Andy's character, I'm going to open my fly and you're going to take what I give you to swallow. And we know how that turned out for him towards the middle of that film, for anybody that has seen that film. By the way, if you've never seen the film Shawshank Redemption, you should totally watch it. It's a brilliant film, completely and utterly and totally. So by the way, I should also point out as an aside, get this, my partner just told me that Trump is trying to initiate free travel to Russia now. And Trump is also trying to encourage Russian businesses to allow American businesses to establish business in Russia and do business in the Russian state. So now Trump, if it was not already obvious to everybody, was a Russian asset. He is now totally a Russian asset because Trump is now trying to economically get along with Russia, which, by the way, is one of the 3 countries that he did not tariff, which is fucking bullshit. Utterly, totally, 100%. So Bessent has basically admitted that the tariffs are just the opening salvo in Trump's economic warfare plan. He is planning economic warfare, smugly suggesting foreign nations should bend over and take it rather than standing up for themselves. And his bullshit claim that the economic sledgehammer is for long-term growth is a transparent attempt to dress up what is clearly a massive power play and make it look like it's some golden opportunity when it's really just a piece of shit. Because that's what it is. It's a fucking piece of shit. Does anybody disagree with me? It's a fucking piece of shit. I'm just going to keep saying that it's a fucking piece of shit. Good. I'm glad nobody disagrees with my opinion. You're freely allowed to agree with my opinion, but CBA, I'm just going to tell you that cannabis has been decriminalized in the city of Atlanta, and I'm thankful for that because I don't know that I would survive any other way. So now we get to the fun part. The USDA has now cut education funding to the state of Maine. Did you hear me say that, Kira? The USDA has cut funding to the state of Maine. The federal government took a sledgehammer to Maine's education funding because the state won't bow down to Trump's anti-trans demands. So that clusterfuck is playing itself out. So the USDA has frozen federal funds for certain Maine education programs over the state's refusal to ban trans persons. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins announced the funding pause in a letter to Janet Mills. The freeze affects certain administrative and technological functions in schools. And the USDA is reviewing Maine's research and education-related funding, and it may freeze that too. Maine's officials argue Trump's order conflicts with a state law attached to their constitution, which is the Maine Human Rights Act, which protects transgender students' right to participate in athletic programs matching their gender identity. So we are literally now talking about a situation where a state has rights and the federal government has rights. And the last time that happened, it was South Carolina, and South Carolina left the Union, and then we had this little, internalized spat that we call the Civil War, where a shit ton of people died over states' rights. Well, we're right back at that door right now with Maine. The Department of Education has issued a final warning to Maine's Education Department before potentially referring the case to the Justice Department, wherein the Justice Department will then attempt to prosecute the state of Maine for not complying to a federal order, which again turns into a states' rights issue. So that's the update for today. Well, that's the update for today. Aside from the other really big ass thing that happened, which aside from the market and into a fucking hole, is wait. Here we go. Yes, states' rights. CBA, I need to hire you to help me come up with names because I can't come up with names good enough. My Cheeto Hitler naming strategy is not great. I want it to be great, but it isn't great. So the other really big fucking thing that happened today is Trump had his first loyalty purge because of a meeting with Lori Loomer. And so there's paranoia going through all of the administration. So several high-ranking White House National Security Council officials have been shit-canned. So the victims include David Feith, who served as Senior Director for Technology and National Security, Brian Walsh, the Senior Director overseeing intelligence, and Thomas Boudry, who was responsible for legislative affairs. The dismissals come out of the fucking blue, but it's Lori Loomer is the one, which, by the way, my partner confirmed to me in another rousing article that the reason those firings happened was because Loomer was telling Trump that she knows loyalists who can do those jobs, and Trump needs to fire the people who are being disloyal. So, little backstory on those individuals. So David Feith, he barely had worn through on his desk. He literally was not there long enough. He was a respected voice in tech and national security for many years. He's the son of former Bush administration official Douglas Feith. And so it was thought that he would bring his pedigree to, to the administration. So before he joined the National Security Council, Feith spent time in the State Department during Trump's first term. So I don't understand what the problem is. Focusing on economic and technological security issues related to China. He had a rough texture of experience against his palms, previously working as an editor at the Wall Street Journal's opinion section and authoring pieces on Asian security issues. His crime? Possibly being too interventionist for turd bucket Trump's tastes. Or maybe he's being competent in his job, and that's why Trump would fire him. Either way, turd bucket Trump fired him today, and it's a crock of fucking shit. I guess my attempt to pick on you, CBA, didn't work, or you didn't notice. Either way, I'm sorry, but I will pick on you again. Brian Walsh, who intelligence oversight cut short. The sickening thud of the axe fell on Brian Walsh, who oversaw intelligence operations. Walsh's biography reads like someone who actually gives a damn about national security, and he knows what the fuck he's talking about. Exactly the type that makes Donald McShits' pants uncomfortable. Walsh brought a serious set of credentials to the table. His background included stints in the CIA, working counterterrorism operations. He spent years ingesting the bitter pill of intelligence work, developing sources and understanding American security. Now he's been tossed aside like yesterday's McDonald's wrappers on Donald McShitface's desk. Why? Who the fuck knows? Maybe Brian Walsh was good at doing his job, and that's why Trump decided to fire him. It's clear that there was probably some loyalty reason that the Don of the Dung became uncomfortable with him. I don't begin to know these things. I really don't. Now, Thomas Boudry. Thomas Boudry handled legislative affairs and dealt with compliance and policy. He was really good at it. His job required him to be a liaison between the National Security Council and Congress, explaining policy and justifying decisions, and maintaining crucial relationships. His background included work on Capitol Hill, experience navigating the treacherous waters of politics in Washington. He knew how to build bridges and establish relationships with people. Boudry did, which is a crucial skill now apparently deemed completely unnecessary and totally useless and worthless to the rest of the world as we know. The tension in committee rooms will be palpable as Congress staffers now wonder who their intermediary contact is going to be, because it's not going to be Boudry anymore. So who the fuck knows who it's going to be? Another Trump sycophant, I imagine. I can't imagine who that would be. So here's where it gets really fucked up. I mean, not just a little fucked up, but fucked up. By the way, CBA, I want you to know I'm continuing to pick on you. You just haven't noticed yet. So the firings reportedly occurred around the same time that Donaldo Fart-Fisted held a meeting with Lori Loomer. If you're not familiar or don't remember who Loomer was, consider yourself lucky. She's basically a worse version of MTG, Lauren Boebert, and the blonde Ingram bitch from the news crammed into one person. According to multiple sources, Loomer provided Trump with a list of staff that she perceived as disloyal. So all of those firings happened because Loomer thinks that all of those people are disloyal, so Trump fired them. The idea that a major security decision might be influenced by a far-right internet personality who has no relevance whatsoever is completely, totally, and utterly fucking beyond me. To a level, by the way, I don't even begin to understand. Loomer, whose previous claims to fame included handcuffing herself to Twitter's headquarters to protest being banned from the platform and calling for non-Islamic rideshare apps that basically did not employ Muslims for their drivers so that white people could be, basically not have to deal with Muslims or whatever, which I have never understood because most of the Muslims I know are really good fucking people and they're really, really nice. By the way, CBA, I'm going to keep picking on you. You just keep ignoring me. The grating sound of rational people screaming internally can be held nationwide because Loomer is a fucking dumbass that doesn't understand what the fuck she's doing or why. Do you need me to identify my food?
No, we both ordered quesadillas. What did you order? Tacos. Ordered tacos. What did you order?
Whatever you didn't order.
I ordered a steak quesadilla.
I didn't order a steak quesadilla.
Did you order a quesadilla?
No, I ordered beans and something else. We're talking about food. Holy shit.
We got 2 quesadillas.
Oh, well, interesting. What when I get done, work it out when I get done. Dinner options. My housemates decided that it was better to go to the Gucci Gucci place. Those two are probably mine.
Okay, I got. Okay.
Wait.
It's like brisket.
That might be mine.
A brisket quesadilla?
Yes. Okay. With the whole Loomer situation puzzling over, here's the thing that I didn't get, which is why I included this in the article. Mike Waltz survived getting fired. And I don't understand why Mike Waltz survived getting fired. Because of Signalgate. I'm not going to stop talking about Signalgate because I'm going to talk about Signalgate wherever and whenever possible that I can talk about Signalgate so that I can get the message about Signalgate out to people who understand what Signalgate is. Do you hear me talking about Signalgate? Do you hear me stopping talking about Signalgate? Because I'm not going to stop mentioning Signalgate. Signalgate, maybe Signalgate, some Signalgate, and some Signalgate again. So, as I continue talking about Signalgate. So Mike Waltz didn't get fired. Why the fuck didn't he get fired? He literally leveraged and fucked up the literal worst ever of security fuck-ups that could be had by an individual, and he kept his job. So, as National Security Advisor. A highly sensitive military information was leaked because someone couldn't properly manage the fucking group chat. CBA, I'm going to keep picking on you. So while Trump, the turd, was reportedly furious about the incident, sources indicate that Waltz's position within the organization is safe. I don't really know why. The bitter irony that someone can compromise actual operational security and keep their job is entirely beyond me. I don't get how the fuck that's possible. And Waltz, a former Green Beret and congressman from Florida, who was appointed by Trump for promising to pursue America first foreign policy. For now, he walks the corridors with cold sweat of uncertainty dampening his choler, wondering if he'll be next, although I don't know. If he violates national security again, I mean, Trump might just pat him on the back and say, good job, way to go. So multiple sources suggest that the firings targeted individuals whose views were perceived as interventionist. This tracks with Donnie McStinker's longstanding isolationist tendency and his frequent clashes with so-called deep state individuals during his first term. Deep state. Deep state. It's about the deep state. Hey, Lynn, I don't know if you know, it's about the deep state. The rough texture of this ideological purge feels familiar. It's reminiscent of Trump's first term when officials who disagreed with him on policy matters were routinely shown the fucking door. Because that's what they were. They were routinely shown the fucking door. What's particularly troubling is that these aren't political appointees being replaced. These are career professionals with expertise in crucial national security matters. The hollow sound of experience walking out the door should alarm anybody who gives a shit about national security. CBA, I'm going to keep inviting you into the live until you see it. I'm just picking on you tonight because I don't want to pick on anybody else. I might pick on Lynn Mad here in a second because she's good people. The National Security Council's deafening silence over this I think we all did, right? Okay. So the National Security Council itself has declined to comment. Their silence speaks volumes, a vacuum of information quickly filled by speculation, fear, and uncertainty. They don't give a shit. So inside the National Security Council offices, there has to be tension going on in there. Staffers speak in hushed tones, glancing nervously over shoulders, wondering who's going to get fired next, because it could happen at any moment. Career professionals who have dedicated their lives to protecting America's interests now find themselves walking on eggshells predicated entirely on whether they are loyal or disloyal to the organization or not. And I don't know, it's fucked up. And I don't fucking get it. So the purge isn't just internal White House drama. It has real implications for national security. When experienced professionals are replaced with loyalists who don't know what the fuck they're doing or how the fuck they're going to do it, it's fucked up. When experienced professionals are completely chosen, are discredited and pushed away for people that are just crazy and sycophantic, fuck that. Richard Haas, President Emeritus of the Council for Foreign Relations, noted in his book, The World of Disarray, that foreign policy is not well served when it becomes an extension of domestic politics rather than a respite from it, which is completely true. Here is what we have, that Trump has never separated the two. Every decision, every appointment, every firing is viewed from the lens of personal loyalty rather than national interest, and he doesn't give a shit. The sour taste of comprised security will linger long after those firings fade from the news cycle. Potential adversaries are already lining up to attack the country. And here's the thing about it. If they erase those who are smart enough to run the National Security Council, I hate to say this, but one of our readers made a comment to me today about this, and I didn't really think about it until just now. We literally may see a 9/11 event. If Trump continues to fire able-bodied people out of the Security Council, then I think that it is highly likely that we may be seeing a 9/11 event occur in the next year, if not before, anytime now. Because that pattern exists. This isn't Trump's first loyalty purge. It certainly won't be his last. During his first term, we witnessed a revolving door of officials who either resigned in protest or were fired for perceived disloyalty. He's just continuing that. Anne Applebaum wrote in her book, Twilight of Democracy, given the choice between democracy without Trump and Trump without democracy, many supporters would just choose the latter, which is fucking bullshit. The philosophy appears to extend to national security, given the choice between security expertise without loyalty and loyalty without security expertise. Loyalty is more important. You hear that? That's the grinding sound of the gears slowing and then eventually stopping. Stripped away should worry everyone paying attention. When loyalty to an individual supersedes competence and expertise in matters of national security, guess what? We're all fucked. We're not just fucked a little bit, we're fucked a lot. So the dust settles, on this purge. The firings of Feith, Walsh, and Boudry represent more than just personal challenges. And personnel changes. They signal a return to chaos and paranoia and loyalty-obsessed governance that characterized Trump in his first term. That smell of fear now permeates the White House. The rough texture of Trump's management style, abrupt, personal, often irrational, like he's trying to run the government like a startup, which he can't because it's bullshit, once again grates against the institutions designed to protect American interests. So for those concerned about national security, this purge should set off a huge alarm in your head. It does me. I've been a security person, technology, info security person for a long time. I read through this, I wrote this, and I went, holy fuck, this is fucking crazy. This is not good. And it's going to be not good, so much not good, because it's going to cause something to happen. Somebody's going to blow up a fucking building. And I hope it's a guy in a Guy Fawkes mask, if I'm honest with you. Because this country needs a lot more than a building. It needs hope. So, does anybody have any questions? My assumption is that, Lynn, that Loomer is not estranged from Trump. I don't believe that she is. I believe that she's always been there. And to be honest, I mean, if I were Melania, I think I would be a little more keen about the fact that Trump has probably, rolled around with her and used his tiny wee-wee on her, maybe. I don't know. That's just my opinion. You don't necessarily need to agree with me. Yeah, I agree, CBA. She disappeared for a while. And so, Craig, no, you don't need to take Adderall. Rick, I don't know. That's a good question. The whole Musk thing, there have been rumors sort of perpetuating around that Musk is going to disappear. He's going to leave. He's going to leave the. He's going to leave the administration. His contract is 130 days or whatever, and after that, he's no longer a special government contractor. I don't know. It's a good question. CBA, are you going to actually notice the notifications I keep sending you, or are you just going to ignore them? I get the impression you don't like me very much. What are we telling Amber? This is now the 5th fucking time I've tried to invite you into the live. The live session hates me. Yeah, the live session hates me. When I try to invite people, it never works right. I don't get why. I think it's bullshit. I think it's fucking bullshit. Yeah. Maybe it's because I don't follow you, but I'm pretty sure. Oh no, I follow you. Here, let's try to do this. So at CBA 11. Whoops. No, CBA 11. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. There. Maybe that'll work. Okay, Amber, why the fuck did you just put that into my head? We're not going to talk about hairy pussy. Does everybody know what velvet taco means? Please tell me everybody understands what velvet taco means. Elaine's not here for me to validate velvet taco. Bruno, you don't? Velvet taco is a euphemism for velvet taco is a euphemism for shaven pussy. I know I'm a bad person. I'm a really bad person. I'm a really bad person. You shouldn't. None of you should listen to me.
Holy crap!
Yeah, you're warned. I'm not good. I'm not a good person. I'm not a good person at all. So now, yeah, we're gonna pick on somebody new, Rick. By the way. Yeah. So here we go. All right. Anyway, so you got 5 minutes, Rick. Burn it out.
Yeah. So good day, man. The stock stuff. I saw that coming, right? I don't think a lot of people didn't after they were listening to the deal with Trump and the pageantry that he put on yesterday. That was a real experience because I could feel my stomach rising, and it was overwhelming kind of. I wonder where we are with respect to around the world. There's such a drop in now that we've seen this happen and become real print on somebody's dance card. across the, now that we're putting tariffs on islands with penguins, it's got a reality to it that's sinking in. And my questions or thoughts most of the day have been, where is the magical bottom? Because I asked that, I go all the way back to 2019-ish, and I remember, excuse me, thinking that, wow, the stock market's upward kind of progression over all that time was gonna stop, and it didn't. And now here we are, and it seems like there's this reckoning that's going on as synapses fire in people's brains, and it's a global phenomenon, not just something that is internal to the United States. It's we got Mark Carney up there telling us to fuck off so nicely. We asked for directions in Canada. God bless them. And we get the rest of the world doing this stuff. But my feelings are really, really mixed right now about what kind of irreversibility we've created in the situation. This is a lot of tension. So I don't know. I'd love thoughts about that. I'd love to get into just what y'all thinking about the rest. Particularly, like, let's just start with Europe. Europe is a block, right? What does that look like now? Let's just say that the immediate shock is worn off. It's a week from now. What is does the EU begin functioning differently relative to us? Because that's a hell of a big number of imports that come not just in goods but also in the services. If you saw the graphic that was out there today from the Wall Street Journal, it showed the actual goods and services, imports, exports. They had this kind of really cool picture. And it's like, man, the service business is huge and getting bigger. Not to mention just all the physical stuff we import, but all the other things that come from Europe is gigantic. And that services business part, the reason I bring it up is because, and I think you'll get this, Wendy, which is the services business. I sat in so many fucking meetings with IBM consultants from the UK, and everywhere they would show up to every IT consulting thing in the world under the IBM label or some other label. They were almost like a required cast member that would be in that group, and they'd talk their tails off about with the British accent, which you can't miss, right? And I'm like, wow, how are we on our side, and then they are on the UK side, and then the Europe bloc side, gonna deal with things here going forward with services. Do they send consultants home? Does that become because that would be a gigantic indicator to me that American businesses, let's say this plays out the way I think it's gonna be a big indicator that the American businesses are basically putting the huge brakes on as far as any expansion plans. And oh, by the way, with that, it's going to shed all these fucking jobs for people who are in technology and everything else, by the way. But I just happen to know tech like you do. And so, wow, how much the consultancy business runs on that. And when they start shedding all of those employees out because businesses cancel plans and cancel projects left and right, it seems like it's going to be a shit show of fantastic proportions that I can't quite wrap my head around how many people. I mean, I know what it feels like to be without a job in IT, so it can be extremely suffocating, and I know you know that too. So I'm like, wow, let's multiply that by a million people or another 10 million people. I love your thought. I'm sorry, I just unloaded my brain without any formatting.
No. Everything that you're talking about, it's all predicating to the same funnel point. And so, I mean, you're not wrong. I hate to say this, but we learned all this bullshit with Reagan.
Yeah.
Because Reagan wanted to. I get why it is that Republicans think that Reagan was the greatest Republican president of his time or whatever. But even Reagan had the sensibility to fucking say, no, the tariff game is bullshit, and here's why.
Right.
And so, I sit here and I look at this shit and I'm like, it's like I'm about to make I'm gonna tell an info security story now. Years ago, at the beginning of my info security career, I did some work for a friend of mine and his company, and they had a network problem, and so he was having bandwidth usability issues or whatever, and so like I broke out my TCP dump and I had my ARP table and I was matching up MAC addresses against, and I found the address and I'm like, okay, I see where it is. And so I went into the CEO's office, who was also a friend of mine at the time. Okay. And I'm like, I found the problem. I think it's that computer over there that has the case cover taken off. It's turned on its side. There's two 18-inch oscillating fans that are pointed at it, and the network card isn't blinking. It's a solid light. And he was like, oh, that's the problem? And I said, yes. He was like, okay, well, I don't need you to do any more consulting or whatever. And I was like, well, what the fuck is that? And he's like, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. And what it turns out, this was a long time ago, early 90s. And he was like, yeah, it's basically an IRC server that I'm running where, the antivirus people are all collecting together, and I give them all of the shit that I get from, and that's where virus definitions and shit come from. And I was like, wait, you're sitting in Anon ops channels and you're bleeding off Anon ops shit to the people who would actually use it and make money, and you're chewing a bandwidth to do that. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Wow, that's fan-fucking-tabulous. Holy shit. So, in that situation, I literally thought I knew what the fuck I was looking at. I woke up this morning, I have no idea what the fuck I'm looking at.
Yeah. Well, it's I guess, my thoughts are, the other side of it is, and I wrote about this, I was researching some of it just to make sure I hadn't lost my memory recently, and it was the, how have tariffs ever worked for any situation going back to 1789, to the very, very beginning. And I was there were such strong opinions within like the Federalist Papers and the early days of the Republic that it was these were things that needed to exist and be only used when there was protection needed for these businesses to be able to survive. And that's when, as we tend to fuck up everything that comes our way, in like between the 1800 mark to the 1865, 1870 mark after the Civil War, there's a lot of this, that was the major source of funding that was coming in. There was a period of income tax in there for the non-historians in the group, but the idea of raising revenue really went through tariffs has just really been a shit-tastic one since back to 1913. That was the last time that we saw really big tariffs first of all, exist at that scale. They existed in big numbers too through the World War II period, but then it was cut off, and businesses. I think somebody did some initial analysis and said, there's just trillions and trillions and trillions, untold trillions of dollars by now in adjusted dollars that have gone into investing in that globalist infrastructure that Trump was trying to roll back the time machine on. And that for me right there is probably my biggest sticking point with everything that's going on. I listened to him yesterday, and it really scared the shit out of me because I thought, hey, does this guy actually understand he fucking lives in the year 2024? Excuse me. And, because I think he's in some other place in his head that we can just like punch a few buttons and he's going to see his DeSoto and whatever rolling down the, in front of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with like old cars and, black and white, God knows, whatever. I don't know how to put it. It's like, is he seriously plugged into anything at this point? You were talking a little earlier about Loomer, who is Looney Loomer, right? That one. And she's just scary as, a burning trash can in a burning dumpster on a speeding train heading towards a cement wall. All of those things. She's all of that. And then he's like putting faith in this person who's just out of her fucking mind. And yeah, we all sit around and scratch our heads, but it's like you've got a whole raft of issues that you could pick from and point to any one of them and go, okay, this is a 25th Amendment thing, or this is a fucking you shouldn't be allowed in office in the first place thing, which never got challenged seriously. I'm not here to litigate the past. What I'm trying to say is that there's so many real big flags going up that the guy doesn't have his shit together and is a very terrifying lack of a grip on reality. And then he's throwing this can of, like exploding shit bombs in our face yesterday while smiling and sending his, Scott Bessent out to tell us all to fucking sit down and shut up. And
Yes.
wow, the whole idea of who he said, and what's her name? I can never remember. Levitt.
Yes.
Demonic possessed Levitt, who can stare right at the camera and lie through her teeth with the best. She's only fucking 27. I have never seen a woman look that young or be that young and look that much older than what her actual chronological age is. But in any case, whatever. That's not my point. My point is all of this bullshit and all of these people that have come out and looked at the camera straight from the administration and gone, well, this is all okay. Expect us to believe this? And it's and then if I hear one more person over on Zitter talk about, we're just losing our minds as liberals now that the rest of the world is like looked at us and gone, you're all out of your fucking minds. Excuse my language and all that, but the at what point does the argument get so goddamn deafening that we just can't, like plug our ears in the Trump administration and go, la, 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 we don't hear you. And because the whole gigantic planet has now focused in based on what, Orange Hitler does or has done with tariffs and told us we're nuts. And I'm just, man, I'm sorry I'm ranting on that, but it's like it's a little bit heavy for me to sit there and go, anybody that is of remotely sound mind and that has watched the news and has any interest in what any people outside of this country have to say, they've got it. They cannot possibly hold the narrative together in their brains that we are in any way acting in a sane, type of thinking mode. We're just not. And
because we literally are living the Idiocracy movie.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know that movie, and yes, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, someone said this earlier in the chat. The problem that we have from the Democratic perspective is that it's too smart for the idiots that don't get it.
Okay.
If you explain it like this to the dumbass MAGA types, they look at you like, that's just bullshit. Trump just tells it like it is. He gets up there and he's like, we're just going to tariff everything. It's going to be okay. Okay. You can.
Well, and today I had to do a reality check. Wendy, I ranted out to the Washington Post. I was keeping my Washington Post, New York Times, and one Wall Street Journal open on my desktop. And as I was watching these things go by, all of these articles, one after the other, was pointing to the way the narratives were reading. They kept referring to the target countries, or what impact was this going to have on such and such country. And I thought, well, wait, time to fuck out, man. We here, all of us, are the ones that fucking pay as the end consumer for all of it, right? That this is a gigantic revenue raiser an instantaneous revenue raiser for the federal government that we pay for, not them. They treat it as an absence of sales if that happens, and it happens in a declining way over a longer period of time than the instantaneous implementation that we pay for on day one, hour one, second one, that those particular tariffs go into effect. So it seems like it's like a narrative that is sort of subtly permeating, where it's like, oh, look at all these poor other countries. And it's like there's not a direct nail into this, end of it, which says we, the people here, are the ones that actually bear the cost. And companies aren't going to go altruistic on us and start making less money. They're going to do exactly the same trick they played back in the COVID days with the pricing stuff, where it's like, oh, I watched this guy do it and that guy do it. Now I can do it. And before you know it, everything in the fucking grocery store goes up 10%. And we're going to keep repeating until we're all sweating. Like, I'm here and I'll just be sweating blood. Everybody, you'll be sweating blood. We will have no money because we, have just spent it on toilet paper, the last of it. And, good luck, guys.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're shit out of luck. If you can't keep up, it's time to fall back.
Right. And I'm not able. That's the thing. If we were talking 6-7 years ago, I could pretty much stare at any of this and go, okay, bad news, but in a way, I could have part of the little tiny lizard brain go, well, sucks to be in that situation. Now, at 57, I am dead bullseye right in the middle of it, because if there's literally nowhere to go. You see that garage door opener? I'm going to be hawking that fucking thing behind me to get money.
I'm going to sell my iPhone. Yeah. It's going to cost me $5,000 now.
It's no bullshit. I know exactly where you're coming from. So I'm like, here's my garage door. And I paid for these 10 nails over here on my fucking mortgage. Actually, I don't even own this, but that's about where this is. I've rented my 10 nails for the month. Let's put it that way. And that's honest to God lived experience. And I was listening to somebody today, or watching somebody in a back and forth on Substack, who got all fucking righteous on somebody else and said, hey, I don't know what freedoms you're talking about have been taken away, and I don't, my experience this and my experience that. And I was like, I had my fingers jumped out of my, the sleeves of my shirt to type the response. Hey, is it possible that your experience could be somewhat different than somebody else's experience? And the fact that you're driving a wedge in this conversation, where you're telling somebody else they're fucking crazy because they're suffering, is actually a bad idea, and it's actually the genesis of how we have arrived together at this point of huge social division and you know, a feeling that we're not all in the same boat, on the same Titanic, in the same Atlantic Ocean, going down.
No,
Yeah.
Again, talking purely from a financial perspective, trying to understand the logic behind why he thinks that tariffing the other countries. I understand the isolationist aspect and how that aspect works in his head, because isolationism would have worked fucking 90 years ago.
Right.
We're at now. We passed then.
Yeah.
Everything that you're seeing now is happening now.
Right.
This is what. So the global churn of economy is all interconnected now because we all depend on each other. So it's
That's
like
a brilliant point, Wendy. I'm sorry, I gotta just call it out because that interconnected nature is something if you wanted to write another brilliant work and throw it out there in the world, talking about those interconnections, I would appreciate it. I don't know.
I'll write it tomorrow.
You know, seriously, it would be helpful because I don't think we all understand how fucking connected we are. I had the gall to tell my wife back in a couple of months back that, you know, well, when Trump gets on the stage, he's going to suddenly realize if he tries to pull too much shit that the Federal Reserve is going to work against him and the interconnected nature of trade is going to work against him. And I am now wrong on both of those huge fronts, right? It is like I have shot my own feet directly with a shotgun. And not only does my wife get to say, I told you so, and you're fucking wrong. And that's great. That's fine. I don't mind that. But I totally misread how stupid somebody can be to ignore the fact that we are intertwined, number one, globally, because we built all these companies to be intertwined since the 1940s. And then second of all, you know, isolationism does not compute because we have too much invested in that foreign infrastructure. The globalization was basically given a license to go do back in the 1940s. That was where I was talking earlier, by the way, when I was spewing. We've spent trillions and trillions and trillions of annualized dollars on the expansion into those global markets. We had to build the buildings. We're depreciating the buildings off the books. So you got the facilities cost, the people cost, the material cost. And oh, by the way, you can only go as domestic as the shit coming out of the earth, meaning either grow it or mine it as the raw materials. That's as far back as it is humanly fucking possible to take a supply chain. And I worked with supply chains for years and years and years, and I can tell you, when it comes down to extracting the ore out of the earth, that's as far back as you can go. And you can't, if that's in some other country, you've got to import it, right? You cannot domesticize it. And everything else is a function of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of globalization. So
yes,
you know, it's just nuts. Sorry, guys. I hope I'm making some sense, but it's like that. That is the honest to God way I feel right now. I'm like that. I was so wrong telling my wife that, you know, oh, you know what? Sorry, you know, Trump is going to have that leash yanked real hard, but no, that's not at all what happened yesterday. No, and he's been cooking this one up along with the Project 2025 authors and everybody else for God the fuck knows how long. And it's that Russell Voigt. I went digging on that mother. If you guys want some interesting shit to go do, if you're bored, go over and Google Russell Voigt. Find old videos of this guy talking, because the shit that he spews in about 2023 and 2022, if you can find those videos, they are out there. It'll blow your mind. It's like this guy was thinking about this then. And these were all baked ideas by the time Trump said the, you know, oath on his without touching the Bible on the inauguration on January 20th. So this is just like a playing out of all of those ideas all at once. I think. I hope that makes sense.
No, I know it really makes sense. So when I dredged through reading the Project 2025 manual, and I did the I did the 9-parter where I literally tried to pick apart all the important parts of Project 2025. Yeah, right. So here's the thing about him. Russell Vought, he's the OPM director right now. This guy holds a position in the government, and he literally tells people that he wants to go back to 1950 when women couldn't vote and only men could vote. And he and his ilk are the ilk that drive the trad wife bullshit. By the way, if there are any Gwen Stefani fans in the live right now, I want you to know it's because of Russell Vought that she's now a trad wife. Yeah. Yes, I shit you not, Rick. Go look it up. Literally, Gwen Stefani, the No Doubt girl who purple hair and piercings and was all really cool in the 90s. No, Blake Shelton has turned her into a Christian trad wife.
Oh,
boom.
My God. Okay.
Just like that. And it's my partner, I look at it and I'm like, I can't listen to that band anymore. Holy shit. And that's the thing. She goes on her lives now and she's like, I'm a good Christian woman now and I'm going to church on Sunday and you should too. And I'm like, okay. Is this the same girl I listened to in the 90s? What the fuck? No, this can't be right. No, this can't be right. And so that's another piece that I wrote, I wrote years back, and I sat on it, is there is this weird parallel that happens, you live one life, and you go so long living that life, and then when you reach a certain point, some emotional event happens to you, and whatever that is, whatever influence or emotional event or tragedy or whatever, and it causes you to do a 180-degree turn and go in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
It's happened to people. I'm a metal musician fan, and I've been for a long time. The lead singer and guitar player for the band Megadeth is a born-again Christian. That motherfucker back in the 80s and 90s drank more liquor and did more drugs than I've ever done. And now in his mid-50s or whatever, he's like, nope, I'm going to church now and I'm a good Christian and I'm born again and gays are bad and trans people are bad and all this other shit. And I'm like, I can't listen to this person anymore. I'm not going. I wanted to go to that show because I could see them one more time before they can't play. I can't pay money for that. Fuck no, I'm not doing this shit. So right. There's that. It's that torrent. I mean, I look at Gwen Stefani. That girl has literally done a 180-degree turn and gone directly into conservatism. And I don't know. The only thing that I can imagine that caused it to happen was she married Blake Shelton, who, as far as I'm aware, is a Nashville country singer, and he fucked it up for the rest of us.
Wow. I'm sorry.
But
okay.
Yeah,
I know what happened to her. Okay.
Right. That's the cultural aspect of that change. And so, so when you look at Russell Vaught's like, no, we need to go back to segregationist. We need to separate black people from white people. There need not be, women don't need the right to vote. Women voting has ruined the country. All of Russell Vaught's weird, super extreme Christo-fascist bullshit, which is all predicated entirely by Project 2025, and everything that Project 2025 wants to achieve, is how the fuck we got here.
What I wish I understood better too is from the woman's perspective, is it like a safe shelter? What is the perception women would hold or do hold, because I'll tell you a couple things just about myself. Number one, I'm married to somebody who's absolutely not American at all. So, go west and then keep going farther west, and there you hit that person or that person's country. And I'm a little uneasy talking about it because I don't. First of all, I don't have her permission, and second of all, I so that they keep it to a box. But so imagining all that, I don't always get perspectives that are reflective of whatever's going on in the current, what the popular mindset is. But I don't understand the woman's direction to get into that as being appealing, other than it's an easy, maybe not, a easier way of life. And I wish I did understand it, because maybe I could then, write about it or talk to it, or ask questions more intelligently. But I really feel like I'm shooting in the fucking dark when we talk about that wham. We just went into the Christian box, and I lived that when I was growing up in my fucking world, and I hated it, right? But so there's all of that stuff. I won't get into it, but the other side of it is, I did, for a period of time, date somebody who was, Christian Southern fucking Baptist, excuse my language for that, but wow, she was like, when stuff started coming out of her mouth, when she was intense, it was stuff I just backed away from slowly, because I was like, I don't know who you are. And it was this whole agenda of, the husband's first, and I was raised in a world where that just does not compute down in my DNA. I literally, to my rivets, I don't understand why, and I want to understand. I'm seeking some comprehension. Please.
The psychology of what you are talking about.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to do another live on this, because.
Sorry.
But we'll do that the next time around, because I'm actually going to write an article about it. But it's this guilt.
Okay,
and
that
the
was not
driving
expected.
guilt. Yeah, it's guilt. It's entirely guilt. I am not going to offend any Christians when I say this, but a major portion of extreme right-wing Christianity has everything to do with the amount of guilt and persecution that a person can feel, and how they deal with it, and literally how they deal with it. So here's the thing. So I tell my partner all the time, I have a huge June Cleaver fetish. I do. I'm not going to lie. I love my kitchen. I love cooking food. I love taking care of my kids. But I'm a strong, independent person, and I will remain a strong, independent person. And so people are like, "Oh, well, you want to be a trad wife?" And I'm like, "No, I am not bending my knee to whoever is my spouse,
right,
or my partner. No, that's bullshit. I'm not going to fall for that guilt." But that's what it is. It literally, at its core value, like at the bottom of the funnel, it's all about guilt.
Okay. Well, I really look forward to that going into my eyes.
Yeah. Rick, I got a thing about it. Just give me a couple of days to truss it up. And
I'm not rushing you, dude. I am just saying, from your perspective, I really want to hear what that's about. I really do, and that's much appreciated, Wendy.
No, 100%. So 8:16. So let's bring it down. Everybody enjoy Rick. Everybody say bye to Rick. We love Rick. We love Rick because, Rick, when you come into the live, more people join the live because they like to listen to you as much as they like to listen to me.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, thank you. All right. Take care, guys.
Yep. The gods love Rick very much. Oh, another Wendy joined. How lovely. That's really amazing. Thank you for joining, Wendy Shelley. I want all of you to know we're going to close now. So the first thing is I want you all to be safe. I know things are getting dangerous and complicated and a whole shit ton of other things. And things feel very fearful and afraid. So I will tell you what I tell everybody at the end of every live. If you're in a safe place, stay in a safe place. Do what you can. If you're not in a safe place, get to a safe place. If you need help, reach out to us. We can do things, and we have abilities. I want to thank everybody who is a paid subscriber. If you're a paid subscriber, thank you. You are helping me go through a very rough unemployment phase right now. But really, as I tell everybody, all of my paid subscribers, the more that you guys become paid subscribers, the more you guarantee that I do this, because I literally only want to do this in my life and nothing else. I really just want to do lives every day and write articles and books, and I don't want to be a professional technology person anymore. However, if you're a free subscriber and you're not considering to being a paid subscriber, continue sharing the things that I have and the things that I provide to other people, because more importantly than being paid for what I do is sharing that knowledge with as many people as possible. Because we have to get the information out there so that everybody can be informed and make the decisions that they need for themselves. So with that, I love you all. I want you all to be safe and stay strong. And we'll get through this together, I promise. I need you guys to get through this as much as I hope you need me to get through this. And so we all need each other. So let's stay strong and stay together. And thank you.